Original, yeah.
What it do? What it do? Cheers to me. Cheers to you. Shout out to the Goal Line Goon crew. Let's get it.
Oof. What an interesting week we have.
Yes, super interesting week. But before we get into talking about the very, very interesting week that has taken place in the NFL, first, I want to shout out ourselves. Why? Why do I want to shout out ourselves? Not only should you like, comment, and subscribe on this here stream, but you should head to our store and you should go check out our merch. You should check out the Pirate Gang line. You should check out the Rumtober line. You should check out the original logo line and much, much more to be coming with the holiday season coming up. Promo code RumBoys. Also, I want to shout out our sponsors over at Shop GLD. Oh, did I just bring up Shop GLD? Yes, I did. Shop GLD is for me, is for you. You already know what to do. Copy and paste the link down below. Go and shop your GLD. Rock your favorite NFL team for this holiday season. You might as well just go ahead and get ahead of that shopping early. So why not put some GLD underneath the Christmas tree? Why not put some Rumboys merch underneath the Christmas tree? You know, just saying, like, gotta get fresh with the boys. You gotta get fresh with the boys. Let's go ahead. Now we can get into the show. First off, what the fuck was that? And I feel like that we are saying this to ourselves more times than not whenever we get out of weeks. How do you feel after week 6 before we get into the injury list? You're muted.
I had a lot of tough beats in this weekend. I faced Vidal in a league, in the same league that I had. He had another dude that just went off. I'm just sitting back like, holy shit, man. When fantasy football goes wrong, I was facing JSN and Vidal and Swift in the same lineup. I was like, geez, and there was bonuses like for some of the shit that they were doing. So I was just like, this is not fair. You know, Drake London and Drake May did their best, which shout out to Drake London. I see you coming back around, buddy. Starting to feel better about you. But you know, it's a weird ass shit, man.
The market is, I'll say the market is more unpredictable than what it's ever been, and we'll kind of there's a part in the show that we're gonna get a little bit more into it. We already see in the chat don't know who's good, don't know who's bad, and I feel like that's kind of the theme as we head into week 7. Usually around this time, things have kind of shaped out. We have kind of gotten through the preseason, preseason, like the preseason, but like September's kind of like the actual real preseason, because that's the first time everyone's getting reps together. But this year's been just so fucking riddled with injuries, and it's just added even more unpredictability. The market is not, the fantasy football market is not in a stable place right now. But we are going to help you navigate it. We have a lot that we are going to talk about. We are going to get right into things, and it was injury city. It was fucking injury city this week. This week was a tough week for fantasy managers. Emeka Egbuka is out with a hamstring and Egbuka gonna be missing some time. That's going to be a very, 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 very tough situation for fantasy managers to navigate. Puka Nacua out with a ankle/foot injury. Here's what really, in my opinion, makes this one interesting. Nakua was on his way to possibly being like the first 2,000-yard receiving leader in like NFL fucking history, like with the shit that he was doing and what the Rams were doing. And then it's a compound, kind of like ankle foot situation. Definitely going to be monitoring the ones that you really want to be monitoring very closely are just Mbuka and Nakua. What the timetables look like on those ones kind of yet to be determined. And Mbuka, it could maybe it's interesting. It could maybe be a couple of weeks if we're going to be realistic just about that whole situation. Um, he's set to get it. He's set to have had an MRI today. So we'll see. They're saying that it's just minor. So, but also take into account, I mean, the bye is week 9, So there's also that with that whole situation with Mbuka and Nakua. Let me just get you guys the exact. They're saying that it's avoided long-term injury for wide receiver 1. They do face Jacksonville this week, and then also similar situation where the bye is kind of around the corner. Theirs is right around the corner, week 8. So do the Rams maybe necessarily trot him back out there? Yet to be determined. Keeping it going, Marvin Harrison Jr. concussion. He's in the same situation though with the others. Is normally with players, it's just a week, and then they can return back into playing action. Bye week is around the corner. So Calvin Ridley, hamstring. We are going to talk later on about the Tennessee Titans offense in a whole, but I doubt that one was affecting anyone too seriously. Chris Godwin hasn't done anything for you. So it's just, if he wasn't already doing anything for you, you're just going to keep kind of the same way that you've been avoiding that situation and navigating that situation is the way that you're going to maintain it. Garrett Wilson is out with a knee. Not good. David Njoku, knee. This is officially becoming the Harold Fannin show. Fannin actually heading into this week, tight end 12. So Will's up on Fannin this week. And then I just want to throw this out there. We already know that he's injured, but it's looking like it's getting worse before it's getting better for the Los Angeles Chargers and Amari and Hampton. We are hearing that this could eventually push into potentially the fantasy fucking playoffs before managers get him back. We're hearing that this could potentially go into a week 12 to a week 14 situation.
What?
Further surgery is getting ready to be needed. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's getting bad. That's bad when you come on air. When I give you the show sheet, you come on air, you're like, oh fuck, wait, what?
Yeah, I knew that they said it was bad, but like,
What
Jesus
up, baby?
Christ.
Yeah.
I didn't want to look.
It's getting really, really bad there with the Los Angeles Chargers situation. The offensive line is fucking obliterated. The Chargers situation is getting a little bit weird. On the bright side, look for QJ to possibly be getting some reemergence maybe this week, heading into next week. That situation should be getting cleared up here soon, being that he was dealing with a hamstring. He was a limited participant in practices towards the end of the week last week, tried to work himself into being able to participate in this past week's action. So all signs are pointing towards QJ getting put back out there. This is a weird time because you're going to have some guys that you've been missing getting back, but then, you're going to have this period of guys that are going to go down, but a couple of them are going to be having buys coming up in the next 2-3 weeks. So in the next 2-3 weeks, while you lose them, you're getting them all back for fantasy playoffs. So it's a weird, fucked up situation that is happening around the fantasy football emergency room right now.
For real.
What up, Frizz? What up? We just got done with the injury report. Bye weeks. Doing pretty damn good, bro. Doing all right. So bye weeks this week. I feel like before getting in, obviously, first off, it's only 2. It's Bills and Ravens. And I feel like that the general consensus around the fantasy community is fuck, thank God. Other than, those that are missing Josh Allen, James Cook was not fully James Cook, last night. Derrick Henry has not been Derrick Henry as of late. Josh Allen has had back-to-back weeks of not necessarily Josh Allen. You're praying to God that the Lamar can get back. So now this is extra time for him to, health-wise, get back, get healthy. The Ravens need him back and need him healthy desperately. You don't know who the hell to really start with those wide receiver situations on either side. The tight end situations are Kincaid needs to get back healthy for Buffalo. So this is actually a good situation. These 2 teams, particularly the Ravens more so, could not have bye weeks at a better, more opportunistic time. And fantasy managers could not utilize this as a more opportunistic time with not having to fumble around with playing those pieces and wondering what the fuck. So I actually look at the bye weeks here as like it's a good thing. Given the way this shit's gone this season, do you agree?
I mean, this season has been a bit fucking wild. So, bye week season right now is not needed. And like you said, for most people, I don't think there's too many players that are impacted. You're James Cook, you're Josh Allen, and you haven't had Jackson most of the year. You're hoping he gets right after this. Most of that Ravens offense is hit or miss. So, for managers, you should be rolling pretty good unless you're in a situation where you have no running backs, because goddamn near every running back is having some sort of issue, and this guy's going down, this guy's being reported. Demoted. So I think that's kind of where most of our people are going to have their issues. Like you said, bye weeks isn't this crazy. It's really,
but hear me
play?
out. This could be a situation where, like, okay, if you had like let's say like you had like Derrick Henry, he's been laying up a stinker for you, but like, you've picked up Vidal recently, now this forces your hand to like kind of start Vidal, and maybe like it works out probably more net positive than Derrick Henry going out there and getting you fucking 4.9 fantasy points.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Until we see what Vidal does this week, because the way these fantasy trends are going, this is going to come in and be Haskins week or whatever that guy's name is.
I mean, I'm just saying, like it's with the fantasy landscape in its current state. When we think game theory, this might be okay. This might work out for more fantasy managers than not. I don't foresee anyone being like, oh my gosh, like I have been stashing Judkins because I could never really, find a way to, get him in, and I was forced to start him, and he actually went out there and got me an 18-point day versus, a fucking 5-point day, because I just was so enamored with always starting Derrick Henry, or I think that this could work out in that manner. I know someone that missed out on starting 2 weeks of Dowdle back to back because they were just like, but I have all of these other players.
Yeah, that Rico Dowdle complex, right? That was a motherfucker. Some people got him in, some people didn't, just because, like you said, it's like, how much can you trust him? And that's that kind of season we're having. You think about it, and you miss a 200-yard game.
I feel like we entered a different multiverse when week 1 started and QJ was a fucking actually using his hands.
Yeah.
I think that's when we knew, like, I think we even said it on air. Watch, I know that I was like, this is gonna be one of those years, isn't it?
It's just another day in the neighborhood, as Mr. Rogers would say.
It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Speaking of, we're about to venture down the waiver wire neighborhood. This is a short waiver wire week, but we have a lot more to talk about. Better waiver, Tez Johnson or Jordan Whittington. This is a great conversation, right? Because both with the landscape of the waiver wire situation this week in week 7, where we're scraping this week because also everyone in fantasy football is scraping. I've never seen so many fucking 3-3 teams in my life. I've never seen everyone so close, like packed together, like the disparity between someone that's 4-1 and someone that's fucking all the way at the bottom is like, it's insane. You know, with that being said, this is a great question because there's an argument to be made about both. Okay, at this point, it's a dart throw. I understand going Jordan Whittington just because it does seem like that the Rams are kind of willing to target him a little bit more. But then I also understand Tez Johnson because it's like, well, Baker's playing at a fucking MVP level, and I want something of that offense as long as everyone on that roster just keeps getting injured. As long as it's going to be a rotating carousel with the MVP quarterback that can elite the level of play with anyone around him, it is worth it. I think that Whittington could be the safer floor guy, but I think that Johnson could be the bigger boom guy. By the way, Johnson related to Bo Nix, not blood brothers. They are brothers, though. So shout out to Tez. Part of me wants to grab Tez. I was sitting there, some crazy shit that I'll talk about later on in my league, later in this podcast, went down, and I was literally, so much action was happening at the exact same time that, like, I was like, do I want Tez? Do I want Sterling Shepard? Do I want Tez? Do I want Sterling Shepard? Shepard has a safer floor. Shepard is getting, the more targets and is making the, but Tez can be that big boom guy. You know what? And then the decision was made for me because someone else, ironically a Bucks fan, went and grabbed Tez, and then I was like, perfect, boom, and I grabbed Sterling. So that's my mindset around just the Bucks in general, but I also have that similar mindset with the Rams. If Nakua's out, Adams is now the 1, and then Whittington now becomes the 2. I think that we're in a situation in Tampa with Mbuka being out. If there's potential that Evans could come back, then okay, I could see Sterling being 2, Tez as 3. If it's, hey, Mbuka's out, or obviously going to be out, but Evans ain't coming back this week, then, oh shit, it's anyone's game. And I just want everyone in that freaking Tampa Bay offense on my roster. So, like, that's why, like, I feel like on a Tuesday night, I want to go and get Tez more. Taco, your thoughts?
I mean, I agree with the way Baker's playing, with what we saw at the end of that game from Tez Johnson, with the fact that Godwin is out, and Buka is out, and you don't know if Mike Evans is coming back out. I think it definitely clears him a path to be like a wide receiver that's on the list that we're going to talk about in a little bit, where once you just get a whole bunch of opportunity, you just take it and run. And once the other guys come back, your kind of time in the sun kind of fades. I think that's what we could see from Tez Johnson. And then I don't think Puka is going to be back this week. But like you said, with them having Adams there and them using Kyron so much in the passing game, his floor isn't quite as safe as Tez, where there's a lot less options because even Bucky's hurt. So like what the Bucks are doing is so impressive.
White took a fucking beating a little bit that last game. I mean, he's gonna be fine, but like you know that that's taking its toll eventually. I went ahead and I grabbed Sean Tucker today because I was like, that film looked brutal.
Yeah, and I think that's
Only was getting hit.
I hate to say it, but right now opportunity is the biggest play. Fuck your talent sometimes. Okay, everybody's out and you're
Volume
gonna
is
just get
king.
force fed.
We always say volume is king. Volume is for real king now.
Yeah, like we're in another world. This is the world where you add Bam Knight on the the day they say that he's gonna be a starter and he still hits a score and kind of like ends up being a serviceable running back on the week.
Speaking of, excuse me, sorry. Let's go ahead. Let's get into this week's waiver wires. The quarterbacks, gonna keep it short, simple, and sweet. A lot of these you're gonna be like, what the fuck, Robbie? Like these guys aren't available in my league, or I may or may not be comfortable dropping or picking up. Drop Keon for Booty. I probably would at this point. Keon's becoming too much of a headache.
Man, they're all a headache.
At this point, everyone's a fucking headache right now. But I probably would. I would. Starting off with the quarterbacks, Jackson Dart, 35% availability across leagues. We've kind of been hitting on it. This team is striking hot at the right time. Okay, there's still going to be some rookie woes. Duh, he's a fucking rookie. But they got something here. They're cooking. CJ Stroud, 50% rostered. It's not pretty coming off of a bye, but if you need to fill in, because you're missing Josh Allen, no one's missing Cooper Rush, then this is a decent bye week fill in here with the Houston Texans and CJ Stroud. Sam Darnold, 25% availability. Why would you not want a quarterback that's connected to a top 5 receiver in the league right now in JSN? I don't get why he's just lingering out there. He ain't lingering out there in any league that I was able to snipe him up when I was having backup quarterback issues. Joe Flacco, 15%. I'm seeing here in the comments, Joe changed nothing. Joe made Jamar and T. Higgins suddenly look somewhat decent later in that game. And I think that was just because he kind of started picking up on the offense. And if that's him with 7 days in office, well, fuck, let me see what you do in a couple of weeks. And maybe, this thing could be somewhat relevant. So Joe didn't necessarily change anything on the score sheet or like in terms of off in terms of fantasy. I think that there might be he might have bought Higgins, at least on my roster, an extra week. So I'm okay with that. I'm not going to roster Joe personally, though. Your thoughts on the quarterbacks?
No, I mean, I think that Sammy D is a guy definitely to grab. Flacco is someone that I'm probably avoiding. I see Jackson Dart on this list, and from the beginning, I think that rushing upside gives him one of the safer floors going forward, and they don't seem to have a problem using him in the run game. So yeah, I'm liking that. To me is like my option. I'm shocked at how well that he's playing. Not shocked at how much he's running, but how well he's able to get the ball downfield with his arm. And I think that sets up for some good future things. And yeah, that would be the one that I gun for, other than Sammy D, who's balling.
Yeah, for me, it would be Darnold, Dart, and those are two can be interchangeable. I don't give a fuck out which priority you put them in. Stroud, Flacco. That's how I would approach the quarterbacks if I'm needing a quarterback for the week. Houston's defense, believe it or not, is top 11 in fantasy. But I think that Sam Darnold is just the way that Seattle's cooking right now, the way that Seattle's buzzing right now. They're just doing good. I just don't think that Stroud. I think the Stroud could have a tough outing. Seattle's defense is top 5 in fantasy. Number 4. So I would probably personally, in terms of waiver wire order, Darnold, Dart, Stroud, Flacco. Do you think no? Oh wait, hang on. Wait, I thought you were going to say picking up. Do I think Trey Tucker is worth dropping? Yes, or just hold on to him for any waiver guys. I'm first priority this week, 1 through 5.
Jesus.
I have an interesting. Let me just answer your question, nice, short, and sweet, and say yes. I have an interesting Trey Tucker stat that we're gonna bring up later, and it's at no fault of his own. It's actually a pretty decent thing for him, but we're gonna bring it up. But yes, he's droppable at this point. Running backs. This one is not something that we would normally do. But there's a chance. You mean to tell me there's a chance? There's a chance, okay? He's rostered in 80% of the leagues, which means that there's a 20% chance that you can go out there and get him. And that's Rico Dowdle. Just go and fucking get him. Like if he's available, because I don't think that it's going to be as simple as Hubbard's back. You're now back on the bit. That's not going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. There's a universe where Dowdle could end up just being like the one.
Yep.
But 30% rostered, there's a chance. Taco brought up earlier. Haskins could end up, being the guy this week, and then, it could be Vidal next week. I want one of the two. He's 30% available. Go and get him. All right. The running back situation is not great. That's kind of all I have for the running backs. Unless there's someone that you want to shout out and add.
I mean, on the lower end, more of a speculation. We saw Tajay Spears start to get a little bit more work. He had 50 yards on 9 touches. He's rostered in 24% of leagues. He had also had 4 catches. He had 5 rushes for 31 yards, 4 catches for 19 yards. He's getting closer to Tony Pollard as far as touches are concerned. I think, especially with how bad this season's been, I'm looking at him. I am trying to put him at the bottom of my roster if I can. In
you can't because everyone's dropping him.
Yeah. He he's only rostered in 24% of leagues, so I would look at him as someone that I kind of want, because I believe that he's trending towards more playing time, and probably by the end of the season, could be valuable, especially because of the pass catches. He had 9 points in that last game. I know that's better than guys like Travion Henderson, who I'm going to have to debate. Do I start him or Hendo? These are the decisions that we'll have to make this season.
What I will say is that there's a few guys that I'm just like kind of like keep my eye on. I'm not adding or dropping. And ironically, it's this whole list right here. The irony. I'm not adding or dropping for any of them. I am keeping a very fucking close eye, because any single one of them are my bell cow just is now injured for whatever reason, and now now the show is mine. So I'm definitely looking at them. Now is at the point where you probably might have like a player or two that you may have picked up, last week, and they didn't do too hot, and you're like, I'll just drop. There's a player or two that you might be able to feed back to the waiver wire. I did it with Jalen Tolbert and Tyquan Thornton. I was like, I picked those up last week, and I didn't really like it. And there was, because other people are going to be dropping shit too. Tomorrow's also going to be a great day for when people make dumbass mistakes and you're able to pick them up. for example, in one of my leagues, someone that Jameson Williams is available in one of my leagues. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm throwing in a waiver. You know, how do you feel about Luke McCaffrey? I feel that you need to pay attention to what happens with Terry this week. That's the skeleton key to that. If no Terry, yes, Terry returns. I don't think that we see Luke McCaffrey except for on punt return. It's Washington is about 2 weeks from having, the offensive line fully back healthy. We haven't seen Washington's full scale attack, like full scale offense, like health wise, all season. So this here, probably between this week and next week are when we're gonna start seeing that roster start really turning healthy and getting back right. So for guys like Luke McCaffrey who have been catching our eye, it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough.
I think your window to play Luke McCaffrey is closing, and this is again where we say volume is king. And as much as we want to think that he's going to be something crazy when Terry comes back, I think that's going to be super hard to hope for, because he's going to be a third wide receiver.
You want to know a crazy stat?
What happened?
You want to know a crazy NFC East stat? My NFC East brother?
Yeah.
Guess who has I can't believe this is real. Guess who has more touchdown passes than Devontae Smith and AJ Brown put together in our division?
Who? Luke? Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, Terry's been out for a good stretch now. So it's not like
and Terry's been out for 2 weeks.
Taco.
Like Terry's been out for 2 weeks.
Hold on.
It's been 2 weeks. He got injured in the middle of a game. So that's why it feels like it's longer.
You know what it was also?
Got rescued because he got injured first half.
Also, he started, in my opinion, slow because he was coming off of the hold down.
But that's not when Luke's 3 happened.
You're right, but that's why I feel like he was out longer. That's why I feel like he was out longer.
No, Luke is a fucking Luke is a
He's missed 3 games, right? I got 3 games here that he's missed. 4, 5, and 6.
No, 4 is when he went out halfway.
I mean, he put up a 0 in that game, so
yeah, that's when he had went out. He had went out halfway. That's when the injury had happened.
Yeah,
and for wide receiver, Boudier, Burden, Slayton, Ayuk. Boudier is the one that I'm grabbing.
Man, listen, we done did this like 3 weeks ago. Oh my God, Boudier, and then he was nothing but Booty, because you know why?
I don't know why
they're so unpredictable.
I think they're getting it to a point to where they're starting to figure out, oh shit, there's some talent there, and I think that we're gonna.
Oh, you know what it was? Diggs had a resurgence, and then I guess when Cardi B albums dropped, Diggs got sidetracked and a whole bunch of other shit, and he kind of downtrodden, or he was I don't know, but Diggs was up and then he's down, and Boudier was up, was down, now he's back up. It's a fucking shit show, man. I honestly it's a very confusing thing. The only one that I really want in New England is Drake May. That motherfucker's balling. That's the only one I really want.
We're gonna talk about that. Sterling Shepard and Tez available though. I would. You're getting with these waiver wire picks, boys. Like we're getting all the same. So I'll just kind of go down the wide receiver waiver wire really quick.
I would probably
Josh Downs 40%. Okay, you got a 40% shot at going to get Josh Downs. Kendrick Bourne 35% rostered. Kayshon Boudier 10%. Wan'Dale Robinson 58%. This is who I really want you guys to go out there and get, is Wan'Dale Robinson. And I want you to slide him into your fucking wide receiver too, for those that are start twos or either your flex. And then for those that are start threes, I want to measure wide receiver 3 or your flex. Lil Jordan Humphrey, I want to throw the fuck out there just because we could see this quickly materialize and meticulous, like become a thing. Or maybe this is just our annual, oh my gosh, Lil Jordan Humphrey shout out, because we do this like at least once a year. Where we're like, it's Lil Jordan Humphrey, and then we never mention him again for the rest of the fucking season. But maybe this could be the year in a system where, hey, there ain't no Malik Neighbors, and we need to figure out who the 2 is going to be. So that could work out for fantasy managers finally, and just overall fans of Lil Jordan Humphrey. And then Tez Johnson. So, like, overall, I want you guys going and getting Wandale first. Downs, like, okay, let me say this. Wandale, Bourne, Boudier, and then Downs. I feel like Boudier and Downs are interchangeable. Downs gets the justification because he's in that indie offense that is just getting work and is just getting burned. And I think the Giants have something. The Giants have something. The NFC East could fuck around and have 3 teams come out and all be in the playoffs. So it's getting pretty wild. It's getting pretty wild. Taco, thoughts on the waiver wire receivers, and I'm gonna take Frizz's question.
I think that buyer beware on Kendrick Bourne. Let's understand here that Kittle and Ricky and Jennings are all out. Jennings, I think, had a big blow up with the coach. Like that situation is like, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Did you hear about that? Did you hear did you hear who's involved in what in trade talks for Jennings?
No, I did not. I didn't hear about that part. I heard that he and the coach were going at it.
Look in your own backyard.
I mean, it could make sense. It could make a lot of sense.
They're saying Kayvon. There's a rumor that the Giants made a call Kayvon for Jennings.
I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't either, but that's the rumor.
Fucking San Francisco and their horrible trades. But yeah, no, I think that's a situation where you got to be a little worried. I don't know though if Ricky's coming back. So deep down, as much as I want to stay away from him, he's probably the best pickup.
I like Kendrick Bourne so much just because I feel like, look, we've already been having talks about, how this offense looks with Mac and yada, yada, yada. And there's a chance about, what that quarterback competition could look like, and if it's one is even brewing. If it's Mac, I'm loving this Kendrick Bourne situation. If it's Purdy that's going to be back installed, okay, well then fuck it. But then also, could this also be a Shanahan thing of like, hey, he's that damn good, we need him. And that's very well within the realm of outcomes here that I don't think that anyone is talking about. Thoughts on Treylon Burks going to visit the Commanders? Is actually a couple of teams that he's going to be going around and visiting. It's like 3 of them. We need depth. We need wide receiver depth. And I say that just because Luke McCaffrey is good, still a developing project. There's not that dog necessarily, there's dog in there, but it's a growing dog. Jalen Lane, I think that they're still waiting to, see what that's going to develop into. But every time that we see flashes of Jalen Lane, we get stellar work. So that one's a little bit weird why they're not just putting that more vote of confidence. I think there's very much this thing of, it's still like the young guys. Chris Moore is okay. Chris Moore is okay. We see flashes of Chris Moore here and there. But new location for Burks and maybe something could pop off. Who knows? We've seen crazier things happen in regards to resurrecting a career. Also, who do y'all like for tight end this week? Waller, Taylor, or Fannin? For me, it's gonna be Waller.
I don't think you can go wrong with Waller or Fannin. Both of them seem to be kind of balling out.
Exactly. Starting Tez over Pittman and JMO is crazy or makes sense. I feel like I feel like over Pittman would be wild. JMO. After that Lions loss, do you feel like that the Lions are going to treat this next game as a bounce back?
They fucked me on some money, those bastards. Man, listen. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I just don't trust the Lions in big games. And every time I do, they prove to me why I should not. Because there's no way that with the way the Chiefs looked the previous week and with how good these fucking Lions are supposed to be, that they would fucking do something. And I'll be honest, I am so disappointed in myself in taking Gibbs over McCaffrey because god damn it, man. Gibbs is just like a shell of what we fucking ever thought that he'd be when Montgomery's on the field. I thought that he would be used a lot more in the passing game than we're seeing. So just overall, I am kind of down on Detroit, to be honest with you. And I don't have a problem starting. Well, definitely over JMO, but Pittman has been kind of solid this year.
Yeah. I'm not doing it over Pittman, but JMO, it would be a possibility.
Yeah,
It could be a
I honestly,
possibility.
it's not. I probably would do it without much question
I'm seeing
because
people drop. I'm
volume.
seeing people rage drop JMO. I'm seeing JMO get
Volume is
rage drop.
king, bro. And think about it. You got Laporta, you got Montgomery, you got St. Brown,
It's
you
too many
got
mouths.
JMO, you got Gibbs. This is a great Madden team. Like if you were playing Madden, yeah, fucking let's go. If you're playing fantasy football, it's like ay caramba.
Yeah. Saw Insider for the Giants said they're strongly advancing a trade for Chris Olave. That'd be sick. That'd be sick.
Listen,
Sonic and
man, I was
Knuckles
the
is a
only
deadly
one that didn't
combo.
bounce on that Olave train. I was sitting back saying, listen, I still think he got it. I wouldn't get rid of him. And last week he put up 6 catches for 98 yards, including a 40-yard reception on 10 targets. Something about Spencer Rattler says he might be getting to be halfway serviceable for fantasy purposes because he knows to get Olave the ball. And I'd love to see him with Jackson Dart. I know he's one concussion away from never playing again, though.
That always scares me. For the waiver wire tight ends, K. Dotton, 12% rostered. With all the injuries to Tampa, this is the time that Otten shines. This is the time where you can kind of give Otten a shot if you're having some tight end troubles. And he has stable floor when he's in these situations. We've seen Otten do this in years past. Harold Fannin Jr., 30% availability. Harold Fannin Jr. is tight end 12 right now. Cleveland appears to want to. We don't know what the fuck Cleveland is doing. I don't know why I'm going to try and say something cool about Cleveland. I was going to be like, Cleveland wants to clearly get younger at all positions. Cleveland doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know their head from their ass. Michael Mayer, 3%. As long as Brock Bowers is out, we know that the tight end is going to be played in this passing game. It's just a matter of, is Geno actually going to complete passes? And then AJ Barner is 13% availability, or 13% rostered. Tight end 11. Here it was. I was like, you know what? I'm just like throwing this dude in trade packages today, and you know what? Fuck that. I'm actually gonna hang on to him as my tight end 2 behind Zach Ertz. So that's the tight ends. I don't think we have anything special to really say.
We had brought up Barner last week, and just keep on the trend lines for him. 3 targets, 3 catches, 71 yards. Keeps on chugging, making hay without touchdowns every week.
This is true. Pick 3 for this week. JMO, Bourne, Devonta Smith, Trey Tucker, Etienne, Kamara, Fannin, Taylor, half-point PPR. Pick 3.
If Ricky Pearsall isn't playing, Bourne is definitely in. ETN is definitely in.
I cannot trust Devontae Smith.
No.
I actually got rid of him today. I got rid of Devonta for Devontae.
I'm assuming that Taylor is Mason Taylor.
Yeah, Mason Taylor, because that's all tight end. Those are tight ends at the
Mhm.
end. I'm probably gonna go ETN, Bourne.
If Ricky's not playing,
Yep. Kamara.
probably. Although Fan and Kamara, really, I would have to sit and look at.
The like is important. The like is important. Tell your friends to subscribe, bro. Thank you so much.
M-
Yeah, gotta have fun. Um, so kind of leads us here into our next segment. Actually, before we get into this next segment, do you want to hear about some shit that went down? Um, in my leagues, that's not cool if you don't like your friends. Holy fuck, that's mean. Um, that's really mean. Is Josh Downs a reasonable waiver wire to pick up? Look, when we're scraping the waiver wire at the point that we are right now, I would say yes because, and I said the same thing. I'll say the same thing that I said last week about Josh Downs. We're at a point where we're identifying who and what the consistent and high power offenses are across the National Football League, and you're gonna want pieces of those, especially when you need to start dart throwing who the fuck you're gonna play in your bye weeks, and you can't necessarily find a trade partner. So you're like, all right, well now I'm stuck having to play this person, and you'd like it to be someone that could potentially boom or bust for you, or could potentially be on a high powered offense that can actually distribute the ball and at least have a serviceable floor. So I think that the Colts offense allows that, and Josh Downs could be reasonable in that situation. He's not going to be a guy that you're going to throw out there and start. Not that I don't like my friends. I don't. Oh my gosh, I love you. I'm your friend. Ted's definitely a short term play. Because eventually that wide receiver core, the closer that they're fighting for playoffs and we're all fighting for our playoffs is when that team will be healthy. Boudier is probably the better long term. Do you want to be my friend? I'll tell you to subscribe. I'm dead. Panda, what's up? Panda. Taco, you want to take this one?
Let's see. I need a streaming QB. Who should I drop? Packers, Houston, Loveland. Loveland was still a first rounder. I hate myself for drafting him. 12-man, 3-3. Old man Rogers, Flacco, and Darnold. I mean, I would probably lean Darnold just because they've been balling in Seattle. So it's kind of hard to not take Sammy D. You just see one thing about his numbers. 295 for 2 passing TDs, 341 for 4 passing TDs, 242 and 1, 218 and 2, 295 and 2. I would say that Sammy D has more upside than Rogers. Rogers is on a short week. He did put up 21 last week, 235 with 2 touchdowns. He has been serviceable, but I think there's more upside with Darnold. So I would take Darnold and I would drop I mean, uh, it's very rare that you need to keep 2 defenses. I just don't value defenses that much when they barely score anything and you can hold a good one and they can still lay an egg. So I would probably drop one of your defenses and probably drop
Houston's the
Houston
top.
defense.
Houston's top 15 defense. They're 11 right now in fantasy.
Yeah, but they have Denver, Jacksonville, Tennessee,
Oh
Buffalo,
yeah,
Colts.
the road gets rough. I mean, but
Yeah,
it's a
like I
but
just
it's
don't
probably
see.
a better option. It's probably a better fantasy option than the Packers right now. Loveland though, I'd probably see if I could.
Yeah, I would drop the defense before I dropped the tight end. I
Rodgers,
would definitely would drop the Packers defense when you look at their numbers. Like they've been trash. There's no reason to hold the Packers
yeah,
defense at
there's
this
no
point.
reason to hold the Packers defense. Packers defense, I would be dropping, and I'd probably go out there and get Darnold.
Yep. Yep.
I love long-term booty. All right. So some wild shit went down in my league today. Everyone just started trading, which actually is going to lead us into the fun fantasy football facts here in a minute. I guess not someone, fucking John too is winless in fantasy. Had a situation where a trade had happened about 2-ish weeks ago, 3-ish weeks ago almost, where he forgot to set his roster midday after processing a trade, and it resulted in him losing, which could have been his only win on the season potentially. But anyway, so kind of I guess like threw in the towel, ended up trading Drake London for Josh Downs and Matthew Golden as I guess like a little revenge of like, you know what, fuck everyone type of situation. So then that then sparked everyone to then begin making trades. Okay. So I then moved Devontae Smith and Judkins for Devontae Adams. Which I think that I won. I feel like I won that. And then we had a let me see here. Let me make sure that these two, because I know that two teams had retraded with each other after fucking up. We had Mike Evans, Aaron Jones, AJ Brown for Pacheco and Mbuka. Offer that to then between those two same teams to go Tyler Algier, Pacheco for Cup and Pittman. So a night of wild trades across the league. Thoughts on this,
Man, I think that trade season gets wild, and you gotta take your wins when you can. Like getting off of
it's the
Smith to me
second
is a
big money
win.
league.
You know, there's certain players where we talked about their talent and offenses and talked ourselves into Higgins. We talked ourselves into Smith. We talked ourselves into, in some cases, Waddle. And that's working out probably a little bit better. But, honestly, like the data is the data, and there's only one ball. So as much as you want to pretend like, everyone can eat, everyone cannot eat. You only have a
Cannot
certain number of
everyone cannot
possessions.
go. What does Benny the Butcher say? Everybody can't
Yep.
go.
No, no. Or if you're going, you're only going for a little time, like a short time, but a good time. Like, you know what I mean? Enjoy your 4 catches. Thank you,
Go.
sir.
Look. After trading away Devonta Smith, who I really needed to get rid of, I needed to get off that train because I was like, I can't be left holding this bag. I had to package Judkins in with it, which was fucking fine. Like it is what it is. But bringing back Devontae Adams, cool. After doing that, my roster now is Bo Nix, Kyron, Bill, Jettis, Adams, QJ, Zach Ertz, Monty, McLaurin, Jason Myers. I got San Fran as my defense. I'm gonna fix that. And Myles Garrett as an IDP player. On the bench, Corum as a handcuff to Kyron. AJ Barner is the backup to Zach Ertz. Troy Franklin, just random throw in. Sterling Shepard, Sam Darnold as my QB2, as my backup to Bo Nix. And then Sean Tucker. And then in the IR, I got Bucky and whatever the fuck Trey Benson finally decides to get healthy, which is probably not going to be till week 12.
depressing. This shit is so depressing.
I mean, it could be sooner. It could be sooner.
I know it was at least 6
It's
weeks.
at least 4 to 6 weeks.
I'm thinking at least 6 on that one, to be honest. So if he was out week 5, so in about week 10.
No,
Hopefully
he
he
got
comes back
injured week
after the bye.
4. He got injured week 4, so it was out week 5, 6, 7. Bye week is 8. So he could be back after bye. Dallas would be 5. Seattle would be so week 10. Week 10, I could get him
That's
back.
where we're thinking. Week 10. Jesus. Just
Hey,
surviving.
I would still have Darnold as a backup QB stash. But if you're needing to stream a QB this week, out of all the options, that's probably the better option. Out of all the options available on waiver wire, it's him, Jackson Dart. Who else did I say? CJ Stroud or Flacco.
I'm gonna keep eating this dead horse, but it doesn't matter the matchup for this guy, but Jackson Dart, just his rushing upside. I know he's facing Denver defense. He's put up 19, 15, and 23 points. He's done it versus Philly and the Chargers in his two good games for 19 and 13. He's had at least 50 rushing yards in every game. In 2 of the games, he has a touchdown. That right there that's 5 points to 11 points without him passing the ball. That is why that kind of quarterback, just safe floor. I mean, shit, it's a tough defense, tough matchup, but in fantasy, I hate to say it, but volume is king.
Volume is king.
And he's going to get the rushing opportunities that kind of level the playing field. Because for
And
every
if you're not
25 passing yards, you get 1 point. For every 10 rushing yards, you get 1 point.
I mean, and if it's really only a decision between Old Man Rodgers and Darnold, I'd much rather start QB 11 over QB 23.
Yeah. Darnold's on one.
Like, I'd rather go down with QB 11 over going down with QB 23. Like, unless you just 100% in your bones, you're like, Aaron Rodgers gonna fucking demolish, which is possible, is well within the range of outcomes. Do I drop Rashard Smith for Isaiah Davis? I feel like it's a 1-for-1.
Isaiah Davis with the Jets, right?
Yep. Yeah. You're getting it's a same for same. They're in that same.
I don't think so. I want the guy in the Jets because I don't know how much longer Breece Hall lasts. I think that there's a better chance the Chiefs end up trading for someone or keeping it as a split backfield before. Whereas I think the Jets, I think they're going to move off of Breece Hall. I saw him I don't see him lasting this season on this team, especially since he's a free agent and he's not from this regime. So I just don't see the point in keeping him with the way things are.
Hey, Panda, that again, if you are filling Rodgers, that is justification. With today's fantasy football landscape, it's about what you can justify.
Yep.
And I hate putting it in that way, but it's the truth.
Listen,
you can't justify Rodgers over Darnold for this week because you're just needing to stream the QB for this week.
I have no problem starting Rodgers. Just the thing about him is that's by nature like a running team, and he has had good rapport with Metcalf, but I just listen in that matchup with everything that you're saying. Yes, in your gut, if you feel that's Rodgers is it, you have to do that because at the end of the day, if it does pop off, you're gonna feel it. But Rodgers' best game was week 1 where he threw for 244 and 4 passing touchdowns. ever since then, he hasn't, like, in his last game versus Cleveland, he had 235 with 2 pass touchdowns. That's 17 points. That is serviceable, but that is not world breaking. And when you look at what Darnold's doing, he doesn't have the running game that he would hope for, and he's going out there and he's balling. So
Yep.
it's a very good possibility that even with the analytics lining up that Rodgers is the better pick, Darnold could still go out there and drop 350
Yeah.
and get 2 tutties.
What's a better waiver priority, Chiefs or Boudier? My defense is Chargers right now, and they play the Colts this week. I don't want you trotting that out. If you can get the Chiefs against the Raiders, that's your better pick. My other defense I could go for second waiver would be Panthers, Vikings, Jets, Bears, Giants, Falcons, Dolphins. I'd much rather just play the Chiefs against the Raiders and get it done and over with.
Yep, I don't mind the Panthers though versus the Jets because they suck. That team is falling apart in front of our eyes.
There's that too. That team already fell apart.
Yep. That team was never apart. What are you talking about?
I get Hurts and Waddle for Kyron and Adunze. I'm declining that. Yeah, I decline that. Nobody wants Jalen Hurts right now. So Tez over the other Bucks wide receivers. I think that Tez could be a flash in the pan. That's why I'm not doing it. That's why I did the Sterling Shepard over Tez. That's just me personally. That's just me personally. Let's get into some very interesting fantasy football facts. Like I've been talking about the landscape. I've been talking about like the fantasy football market. What do I mean when I say things like that? I talk about situations or stats, so to speak, that I'm about to get into that kind of make up that landscape and make up how we talk about trade talks or, player value, how we construct our roster, so on and so forth. Would you believe it if I told you top 15 running backs drafted in 2025, out of that, 2 have missed time due to injury, 3 have lost their quarterback, 2 have already had their bye. We all know that week 5 bye can fuck you in fantasy. A bye that early is always tough. Out of all running backs, Regal Dowdle, who has had 2 starts on the year, where do you think he's ranked?
I don't think I'm the best person to ask this question because I've seen the show sheet. But I would say probably like running back 11.
Running back 11 overall on the year.
It's kind of absurd. But he did have 2 200-yard games.
He did have 2 200-yard games. Like
Cuba.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. I'm saying Darnold wouldn't be a bad throw. Let's run with Darnold, boys. Hell yes. Let's fucking go. Panda. Let's see here. Give me 1 second, Frizz. I'm gonna get to that start 7. Rico is like prime Sean Alexander right now. Abso-fucking-lutely. Let's keep this going here. So that's just the running backs. Probably like Robbie. Well, what about wide receivers? Top 15 wide receivers drafted in 2025 breakdown as such. 4 have missed time due to injury. 3 have lost their starting quarterback. 2 have already had their bye week. Okay. Outliers. Trey Tucker has had 1 fucking big game all season. Okay. All season, Trey Tucker has had 1 big game. Is the current wide receiver 8 overall, all because of the week 3 versus Washington, where taking a look at this league that I'm looking at, 46.9 points. It may be different based on your settings, and he may be ranked differently depending on your settings. 9 targets, 8 receptions, 145 yards. Like, come on, 18.1 yards per catch, 3 TDs in that game. He had a lone TD in week 1 against New England. Ever since then, radio silent. Radio silent. Yeah, Trey's the only receiver to drop 40. All
What
right.
do they call him? A home run hitter?
It's essentially that. It's essentially that when it
He has
comes
like a
to
200 average,
Trey.
but when he hits a home run, you're like, holy shit.
Like,
a lot
what
of
an athlete. Yeah.
Yeah.
4 wide receivers, and just a quick rundown. Okay. The last 2 weeks, he's had 11.1 and then 12 fantasy points. So it's just been like, kind of stable floor. With that being said, throughout the landscape of fantasy football this week, 4 wide receivers currently in the top 12 on the season went down with an injury just in week 6 alone. That's 4 of the current top 12 right now went down with an injury in week 6 alone. Only 14 of 32 backfields have a clear bell cow roll running back. So pretty much backfields where you can say that's the running back. Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, situations of those natures. Jaylen Warren, 7 week 1 starting QBs have missed time due to injury. So right now, the quarterback landscape isn't even what the fuck it realistically should be, or probably what it's looked like over the course of a resemblance of what it's looked like over the last 5 years. Only 3 running backs in the NFL have had 10 plus fantasy points in all 6 games. Of course, this is scoring dependent. Bijan last night made 4 in his 5th game. All right. So that's just astronomical when you think about it. Only 3 running backs have had 10 plus fantasy games. Bijan actually being the one. So actually, it's only 4 in its totality. Only 1 wide receiver in the NFL has had 10 plus fantasy points in all 6 games this year. Like it's pretty much like Nakua or bust is what it's been for the most. Or I'm sorry, JSN or bust. For the most part. We're seeing major upsets across the board in weekly weeks. Before the show, Taco brought it up. It's fantasy has basically at this point become betting. Okay, fantasy is just gambling at this point. The amount of upsets, the amount of dogs that are winning on a week to week basis is astronomically insane. There have been 13 games already decided by at least 20 points this season. Blowouts are bad for fantasy football. It doesn't help us in fantasy football in no shape, form, or fashion. All of this case study is to state everyone's fucking fantasy football team right now. There's no such thing as a perfect week-to-week fantasy football team right now. This is the probably I can point out a few seasons. That Blake Bortles Jags season. I can point out a few outlier seasons, but every 5 to 6-ish years, we get an outlier season that pretty much resets what the landscape of the next couple of years is going to look like. We get a changing of the guard. Everyone's fantasy team is fucked right now. When we're going through trades, the trade process at this point right now, as it stands in week 7, is you are basically trading. You're trying your best to develop the best roster possible for a week-to-week basis, but you're basically trading a set of problems for another set of problems. Yeah, every team in the NFL has a bad loss. JSN, my only good pickup. It's definitely been a very weird fantasy season. I'll say that. Taco, your thoughts on some of the stats that I just dropped, and the landscape of this year so far.
I think the only one wide receiver having 10 plus fantasy points in all 6 games this year is one of the most telling stats. Along with, there's been 13 games that have been decided by at least 20 points, while at the same point in time seeing so many upsets. Because it's like 1 week this team looks like pure ass. The next week they come back and they get an upset. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? I'm looking at a team like the Falcons, like they were starting to like trend toward dead in the water, and then all of a sudden, bam, they come back and they start smacking up the Bills, making them look like frauds. And all of a sudden, you're like, hey, if they could start using Bijan and Drake the way that they're using them tonight, this is the Falcons we've been waiting for. And it's just seemingly a week-to-week league at this point. It's not even season to season or month to month. This shit is changing by the week. Doing your pick'ems is harder than ever. You got random shit popping off everywhere. The dregs of the league are seemingly getting some life, except for the Jets. They are the Jets and the Titans. They are the Titans. I feel bad for Cam Ward because it seems like he has the right mentality. But he is just gonna get fucked by that whole situation. It's just a shit show all around. In those 2 places. So I mean, if there's places to pick on, it's there. I mean, we thought the Browns would be worse than they are, but that defense is good enough, and they're finding a way on offense to get it done. The Bengals, despite everything, are still hanging in there. Saints. I mean, Saints, yeah, Saints. You thought would be worse than they are. So this season, at least from a betting perspective, I think is very volatile. Upsets can happen on any given Sunday, and don't deny your gut in some instances because it might end up being the winning play. It's not necessarily the best play, but something that you have conviction in. You see a little something like. For me, it was like the headline came down about Bam Knight playing, and I was like, oh shit. Michael Carter went from starter to like not starting anymore, and like I played him on faith. And in these situations, we're gonna have to just sometimes roll with your gut at 7 o'clock in the morning when nobody has any analysis really out for you. You're kind of like, fuck. Yeah, but it's just it was hard. I wanted to start him over Travion. I got into a big debate about that and ended up starting Travion anyway and regretting it. But
what's the inspiration behind the channel name? Years ago when I first started the channel, had a wild night with a lot of rum, and me and my homie at the time that I started the channel with, we wanted to start a fantasy football channel because there wasn't really any out there at the time, except like the really super like huge names where like you're not gonna be able to get a question in like edgewise. So we were like, you know what, let's do our own thing. And we kind of started our own channel, and that led to like a lot of great fucking opportunities. I'm a huge fan of Kevin Hart, and he has like his own like little like comedy troupe called the Plastic Cup Boys. So like I kind of like I was like, yo, I like that. You know what? We the Rum Boys because like our favorite shit was rum, and then we developed the whole thing like whole thing, and it's just been wild what that journey has looked like. I'll have to do like a video on that, you know. Yeah, I follow the flock people, but I swear they are wrong every time. Yeah, it's hard when you become mainstream. That's why I kind of like that. Like we're here, we're just like fuck it, we're gonna say what we want.
Yep.
Greatly appreciate that. Greatly appreciate that. I like how we kind of got it set up here. Don't get me wrong, though. Still share the channel, like you know, because I would love to like also be on there, like you know that level. But you know, we're no matter what, we're always gonna do what the fuck we do, and we keep it lit. Like we keep it lit. We keep it lit. And it's always gonna be that way. Tempted to drop RJ Harvey for Vidal. Travion makes him want to makes him want to eat glass. Yo,
True, bro.
I agree with the second statement, and I agree with the first part. Yes, do it.
It's like so fucking bad.
Yeah, it's gosh. It got brought up in the chat. Really quick, one thing that I kind of want to round out about those facts that I just kind of spit for you guys is like be strategic. Be strategic when we're going out there and we're making trade offers. You know, hit us up in the Discord. Hit me up on Instagram. You know, like I'll answer your questions. Like if it's slow at my day job, like I'll definitely answer y'all's questions. I'll actually make sure I drop a Discord link in the chat. Ask Frizz. Like I keep it I try and keep it, you know, lit even when it's just one of us, two of us up in there. But I try and keep it lit, and I try and, you know, answer you guys' questions like as soon as I get them. So I'll drop a Discord link. This was brought up in the chat, Taco. The Tennessee Titans move on from Brian Callahan this week. You kind of touched on a little bit. What does this mean for this organization moving forward, and how should fantasy managers approach this offense? Drop the ball.
Stay away unless you're desperate. And if you're desperate, I would play the running backs. I have no faith in any wide receivers right now. I have no faith in the tight ends. I have no faith in the quarterback. I have no faith in the defense. I have maybe some faith in the kicker. Kicker I would maybe play. That's about it. Like that's about it. Like I brought up earlier, Tajay Spears is someone that I flagged as interesting, but that's about it. Like, you know, I have him on a couple rosters where I'm keeping him there because I do think that you know, volume is king, and he might get some volume in that position, and you know, that's where we're rolling. But it's a stay away. It's a stay far away. It's don't bother. Don't hurt yourself.
I feel like you had to know that this situation was going to be volatile heading into it, and I think that it makes it very difficult to bring in, you know, a caliber coaching name, a pedigree coaching name, just because you have the owner not showing up and showing accountability for, you know, the firing, you know, post after, you know, kind of thing, how things went with Quran, and then you get the predecessor to Quran, but then you're it's all just very convoluted and fucked. So I don't know if Tennessee remedies this situation anytime soon, and I don't know if this becomes a place. It already wasn't a place that was desirable for veterans, which is what you need in free agency, especially if you're going to be drafting a quarterback. It's just anytime that you're drafting a top quarterback, you have to be understanding of that it's going to be a process. There's going to be a developmental process. It's going to take some years. You need to be dedicating yourself to at least, like, being willing to dedicate yourself to at least 3 to 4 years of development with the guy. So, I mean, it's difficult, and they've worked themselves and backed themselves into a wall here on all facets. It's going to be an uphill climb. So you did it to yourself, Tennessee. It sucks. Yeah, the Titans defense plays their fucking asses off, and that's the only thing that Vrabel kind of left kind of behind was that defense. And I mean, and everything else just kind of got blown up the way it went when he left, and they should have just stuck with him. If you had to do the draft again, what would have been y'all's first 4 picks? Looking back now,
See now, this shit is crazy because
I'd
it'll
still
change
do
a little bit,
shit.
but
Because here's why I say here's why I can openly say, like, it's really smart to be like, I feel like answering this question right now, like knowing what I know now, is like me posting a parlay after I've already won and not giving you the winning picks before. It's like, bro, like I can't win now because like I guess what I would have done differently. I guess I'll answer it this way. I probably would have went running back heavy more than what I normally do. Like I still did it, but I played it in a little bit more balanced phase. To where in many leagues, you know, my running back situation is good and it's okay, but I probably could have, you know, went for some of the workhorses and went late receiver just because it's been a lot of the late round receivers that are being the top producers. So
I mean, I was hammering the CMC should be higher train. And I was almost putting him at one. But I started backing off that a little bit at the end. So I wish I would have really held to my conviction on CMC. I think Bijan probably will be my 2. And then after that, probably, you know, St. Brown and JSN would be much higher on my board. And realistically, I think rest of the season, um, you know, I can't see a reason why JSN would not ball the fuck out at this point. He did it at the end of last year. He's doing it now. Puka, his injuries always worry me. So I would not have drafted him in the top anyway. Achan is just a fucking freak with all the pass catching that he get. He's everything that we wish Gibbs was, you know.
bro, hold up.
Gibbs,
I gotta stop you really quick, dog.
yeah.
Also, fuck fantasy main channels acting like OnlyFans models for $5.99 and a Galaxy sticker. Fuck.
Yeah. Damn.
Oh my gosh.
I
I
mean,
love you guys.
so,
I have the greatest chat in fantasy football.
Robbie does have Rum Boys After Dark, but that's
Yeah,
PG.
right? Hey, no, we be getting lit. This weekend is gonna be wild. Should I drop Keon Coleman? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love how we always get like the drop trends, because yes, like everyone's dropping Keon Coleman.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Keon Coleman is the why the rum is always gone player of the week.
Yeah. Him and Jennings, they
Conversation,
can share a
yeah,
cup.
it's so diluted. What are your thoughts on Javonte Williams?
Scared.
Aside from look, the dude is having a fucking fantasy season and a half, and he is balling the fuck out, and he's gonna go off against my Commanders. That man's probably gonna fuck around and have 2 TDs against the Command. Okay, maybe not 2 because of that front. He is for sure gonna have a day. He's gonna have 80 and a TD. Like, so there's that. There's that. Like if he gets up into the second level, our secondary can't wrap up worth the shit. So that's kind of the way that works. You're just really hoping for Javonte Williams this week to be able to get up into the secondary and just run straight at Jeremy Reeves. Just traded. You got it. Go ahead. I'll let you take this one.
I mean, if you have depth, I mean, Swift right now is kind of popping off. I think you're gonna need to add another running back. I don't believe in Chubb long term as a starter. I think I hate to say it, but BTJ might be beginning to emerge. And Bucky, I think once he comes back, he's a beast. But JSN's the best player in the trade. So I think it's a solid, like it's an even deal. Like,
It's an even. This is equitable. Yeah. This is equitable given the current.
You probably just need to figure out another running back. Like I hope that Kamara gets traded for your sake, because then he could open up a whole nother lane of like viability again. But Yeah, I don't think it's a bad deal. I just would try to figure out a running back on the waiver wire that you can kind of get with.
Stick with Mason Taylor or drop for Cade Otton.
I
Drop.
would
Drop.
Yeah, considering the volume that Cade. I mean, let's face it, Baker and Cade got some rapport, but when you got Mbuka and Evans and all these other dudes, it's easy to be like, all right, bro, we cool. But me and my bro over here got to get some work in. You know what I mean? We got to make a quick flip. I'm going to spin around the block and see you later. And
Right,
it's not when you
exactly.
spin around the block and be like, hey, yo, the buddy and the booty. Like, let's go get a little bit of action right now. And I think Cade Otton could be a solid pickup with them being so depleted.
Let's get into things all NFL fans must accept. Week 6 edition. I'm sorry, yeah, week 6 edition as we close out and head into week 7. Really quick, hold on. Well, who do you think I can get if I can give away Kamara and Chubb? If you can give away a package deal like those two, I think Derrick Henry coming off of the bye could fucking come back out and just pop out a show. Kenneth Walker listeners will probably be willing to, like, say what's up, but I mean, you still have to worry about the Zach Charbonnet situation back there. Bill managers, after him being down on a bad week, they're gonna want to see what's up, but he's still gonna end up being the lead back for Washington. The fumble at the end of the game that cost Washington the game wasn't his fault, so Bill managers are gonna be wanting to say what's up. Genty managers are for sure gonna be listening still because they don't know which Genty they're gonna be getting.
Dude, that is so tough.
David Montgomery, you can for sure go and grab. Like Monty managers are gonna be like, "What's up?" after they try to make him pass at the goal line to Jared Goff on a Philly special. You could probably go out there and grab Quinshon Judkins, which could be an improvement to your backfield. Brees Hall managers are probably wondering when the fuck, they might be wanting to get off that train, before shit gets real bad. So I mean, those are some situations like honestly, like you could look at and would be viable. You're not going to go out and get into patching those two. You're not going to go and get in like the Bijan range, the James Cook range. You're not getting in that range. But I mean, you could go and you can do some shit.
Yeah.
I tried Kamara Montgomery, but he called me desperate. I mean, everyone's league is different, and everyone's league mates are also different as well, too. I wish someone would take Kamara, but it's been impossible. It's been tough, but I think if you package him up with the situation, then you could do some shit. I asked a Henry owner if he's willing to trade him, and he said he needs a starting running back and wide receiver. He's drunk. Someone traded Brees for DK in my league today. That's solid. And I fuck with that.
You can always tell this guy, Tez Johnson is starting, bro.
Yeah. Is Mike Evans actually playing this week? When do we give up on Godwin? I've been giving up on Godwin. I gave up on Godwin heading into the season just because of the past injuries. With that being said, instead of focusing on the question, staying on topic,
DeAndre Swift.
I think Evans, hopefully Evans is playing this week. I picture this offense trying to be like, okay, if someone's injured, we need to be sliding in at least one dominant type of role player. Stay posted throughout this week's shows. I'll definitely be keeping you posted. I'll definitely be keeping you posted. I also dropped a link in the Discord, so you can hit me up in the Discord too. Was thinking of offering him Rico and either Waddle, Wandell, or QJ. So see, you could probably get away with. You could probably be like Rico and Wandell. You could probably be like Rico and Wandell for that. I could see you doing that. I would do that. Keep QJ and Waddle, or either Rico and
I'm not trading
Waddle.
Rico. Right, Rico in 2 games is the RB11.
I traded. The only reason why I have moved off of Rico is because I know that Hubbard's going to come back. And I think that at best, when Hubbard comes back, Rico gets diminished. Like At best, it's going to be a 50-50 with those two.
I don't
think that it's going to be. I don't think that it's going to be a 60-40, 70-30.
With the man balling at 200 yards and you're actually winning games. As a coach, I don't know how you go and say, and then you get a Plodler back there that's not really popping. Rico gonna get his burn, bro. He was averaging 7 yards a carry.
But even still, like what that still is going to look like, it's going to be mad interesting. Which actually leads us into things all NFL fans must accept Week 6 edition as we head into Week 7. Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo make the New York Giants playoff contenders. Okay, especially with the fallout of the Eagles, the Cowboys, and Washington. Window of opportunity right now in the NFC East. Got to strike while the iron is hot for you Giants fans.
And a good defensive line.
Yep, Rico Dowdle deserves to be RB1 over Chuba.
I mean, we just made that case.
Tyrod Taylor should be QB1 over Justin Fields.
The tape doesn't lie.
No, yeah.
Too many times Gary Wilson's open and he's just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, exactly. Zoopy, we just gave you the answer to that one. The Chargers will trade for a running back. Maybe this could open the door for that Kamara situation that we talked about.
I don't see how after the way Vidal popped off and knowing that Hampton does come back this year, I think that teams like the the Chiefs
Vidal popped off for fantasy.
He had like 90-something yards, right?
I don't think that they stick with Vidal, and
18 for 124. Listen, he's serviceable enough.
I think that
you can get away with it.
I think that they know that that's not going to be. I think they know
but
that.
You know that Hampton's also coming back, so it's not like he's season ending.
I don't know.
It's definitely not season ending. They already said that. It's definitely not.
It's not season ending, but it's not going to be till like super late. Maybe this isn't. Maybe it's not necessarily a move for Kamara or whatever the case. But who knows? You know.
I can see them signing a journeyman, but I don't see them making a trade.
Frizz, unless it's dynasty, you can drop Mason, bro. There's no need to hang on to Mason. I'd rather keep Coleman over Mason, just because it's the Jets. It's the Jets. Baker Mayfield deserves all the MVP all the MVP hype, and Drake May will finish top 5 in MVP voting.
He'll be top 5 in fantasy quarterback voting too.
He's going the fuck off. He's having one hell of a year. We've been saying start May.
Yep.
So I mean,
dang that drum.
I'm all in on the Drake May hype right now. So I still think that the Chargers trading for a running back could be an interesting take. I think that it's going to be one of those where like they trade for like someone subpar, like, but not like it's just going to be like a depth piece type of thing, but not anything too crazy. Other than that, who's the most frustrating player this year? AJ Brown.
I mean, I think we knew that was going to be coming in. So I can't say that because I was fading him hard and fast.
You were fading him,
Brian Thomas Jr.
You were fading him. I was at least lukewarm. It's not that AJ Brown. It's not an AJ Brown issue.
No,
it's not
a system.
It's a system issue.
It's like macaroni and cheese going off. That system is built for him to do what he's supposed to do.
That system goes built for anyone. Doesn't matter.
But I mean, I don't know about anyone, but it wasn't for Trey Lance.
Trey Lance didn't really get enough. That's not fair.
I mean, he couldn't beat out Purdy, bro.
wasn't given an opportunity.
The first round pick couldn't get outplayed him.
Bro, he
outplayed him. Coach ain't gonna be like, "Oh, you're better," but I'm gonna put the other guy in.
Purdy did outplay him,
you
but
traded three first round picks, and you're not gonna be like, "Well, I'm gonna put this." No, he
didn't outplay. Like he did. Trey Lance really like. There's at least, and we go through this like every couple of years. There's like always that couple of guys where it's like, yeah, like if they had the right system, they had the right coach, or they had this, or if they had the right time to develop. And I feel like Trey Lance will always kind of be one of those guys where we're like, just like what if? Because like what we have seen Trey Lance like sometimes it's like, oh, like it ain't that bad, So other than that, all good. We're about to head out here. Other than that, last minute words.
Oh man, I'm excited for some Thursday night football. Betting's been a little bit wild, so I mean,
we got the Geriatric Bowl this Thursday.
I need a big game from Jalen Warren. I at least like that he gets to go first. So please, Jalen Warren, please catch like 5 passes. 5 passes. That's what I want. 5 passes. Obviously, get a touchdown too.
Hell yeah. For me, go out there and just try and make the most persuasive and best cases for your trades. If you can't build a case around why you're saying the offer, like if you're just putting like a bunch of shit together and be like, I hope he fucking hits yes, there's a chance that they're probably not going to. Don't just throw shots in the dark. If you can make a case as to why, hey man, I think this works out, for both of us, it's gonna go a long way. This is the season where you really gotta gotta hone on your skills of persuasion. But other than that, that's kind of like my only advice right now for this week. Tomorrow night, Ask Me Anything session. I'll be answering questions and going through my betting research. I think it's Steelers. Yeah, it's Steelers. It's if you text for yeah, you have to text personally. I don't like when people don't like message me. People just blindly send me trades. Like, fuck you think you're doing? Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. FaceTime, have a shot or whatever. And then talk about it. Like, I want to find something like gotta try and find something that works. Other than that, cheers to me. Cheers to you. To the Goal Line Goons crew, what it do? Dilly dilly. We love and appreciate you. Catch you tomorrow night. I'll be answering some questions. Peace.
Yeah.